And just a squad update first of all, if you could, please.
Yeah, obviously on the weekend, Carl Starfelt, hurt his knee, and we haven't had an exact diagnosis, but it's nothing too serious, but probably keep him out for a couple of weeks. And Kyogo, obviously his shoulder, trained this morning, looked okay, so he's available. I haven't made a decision whether he'll play or not, but in terms of him training and doing everything at training, he was fine.
Now, just on the eve of this big match, just give us your thoughts on coming up against the holders and everything, the emotions that bring with it.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Excited by it. I mean, it's a reward for a fantastic season last year. That everyone at this football club put in, and the reward is you get to play in this tournament and test yourself against the best. And so it's exciting. It's where we want to be, and it's where we want to compete.
Speaking to Jota after the game at this Saturday, he was saying that this could be a game that the players would record and maybe show their kids in 15 years' time. Is that the sort of emotion that you want to convey to those players, to really embrace the moment and enjoy it? Yeah,
I guess so. I mean, like I said, it's where you want to be. Any footballer, any sports person, you want to test yourself at the highest possible level. And in terms of club football, this is the highest possible level. And so I'm sure for the boys, all of them, it'll be an experience that they're looking forward to, and an experience they want to make memorable. But you still got to compete in it. It's not a game where you kind of dismiss the fact that you've got to be competitive in it to make it a really good memory.
Ange, you've obviously managed all across the world, managed the World Cup against some of the best teams. So what does it mean to you personally to manage against the best teams now, in Celtic colours?
Yeah, I guess similar to the players, as you said, I've been pretty fortunate. I've coached at World Cups, Confeds Cups, Asian Champions League, Europa last year. So these are the things that you want to experience as a football manager, and I've been really fortunate that I've had some great experiences, and this will be another one. And like you said, you want to test yourself against the best, but I think what's more important is that this football club gets an opportunity to play in a tournament where we want to be. We want to be a consistent performer in, and that's what this whole sort of objective is for us. Sorry.
How confident are you? How confident are the team that you can win tomorrow night, given the brilliant form you've been in so far this season?
It's not about being confident to win. All we can do is control our performance. Every game we play, we just try and play the game a certain way and be the best we can be. And that's what we've done in every game so far. That's what we did last year, and that's what we'll try and do tomorrow night. We'll just try and play our football, be the best team we can be, and the end result is often a consequence of good performance, strong performance. So there's no point us thinking about winning or losing or any other result without thinking about, well, first thing we want to do is make sure we perform, because we know we're playing against a top football team with some fantastic players, with a brilliant manager, and what we want to do is go out there and be offer the best of ourselves to measure up against that.
And you talk about obviously testing yourself against the best. Is it also exciting for you and the players to be almost bringing your brand of football to the the Champions League? Is that something that gives it an extra kind of intrigue?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean when I say test ourselves. Like, there's no point playing football a certain way, and then when you get the opportunity to measure it against the very best, you shy away from it, and you kind of go, well, you know what, let's just try and limit sort of any sort of damage tomorrow night. Then that's not really a test, because you don't know. Because you could go out there tomorrow night and you could limit the damage and you might get a win playing a different way, but have you really tested yourself? I don't think you have. So when I say test ourselves, that's what I mean. I mean, we go out there tomorrow night being the football team we have been to this point, and you measure, then you've got a real measure of where you're at. And if we're short of where we need to be, then we go back, dust ourselves off and work at it again, get a little bit closer next time. But I've always taken these games, anytime I've been involved, as an opportunity to really, as I said, stamp your own sort of identity on a game and see where it takes you.
Can that help the players then? And you're not going to change your approach. Some teams will do. They look at a single-mindedness. They know exactly how to play. Does that help going into a game for them as well?
Look, I don't know. I think it's why we've been so consistent, because the players kind of have a clear understanding of what we need to do every week, irrespective of the opponent. So if I, and there are certainly different approaches you can take. I've said that a million times. It's not just about, there's a million ways you can be successful in a game of football. And if we changed our tactics every week and we were that kind of team and we were successful, then the players would be expecting that tomorrow night. But they understand what their roles are within our team, how we're going to play. We do that every week, and we do that for a reason, and that's because we want to win games of football and be successful. And if I walked in there tomorrow and said, look, we're going to change our approach, I think it's not just tomorrow night that we kind of miss an opportunity, but further down the track, I think there'll be doubts in their minds about, well, why are we actually doing this? I keep saying that the reason we play this football is to win. That's it. There's no other reason for it. I love that it's exciting. I love that our supporters love it. I think that's important, but if it wasn't successful, I wouldn't do it.
Does sticking with that style, though, bring a risk the more you go up the food chain?
Well, if there's a system that doesn't give you risk, I'd love to hear it, If there's something that you can guarantee me tomorrow night that if I play this way, you're guaranteed to minimise risk, then it doesn't exist. Any system you play, any approach you take, there's inherent risk. But there's also sometimes the greater the risk, the greater the opportunity, because we're trying to do things a little bit differently. We don't want to be like every other team, and with that, there's always that possibility that you'll stumble. That's fine. Stumbled in the past. Important thing is you just dust yourself off and keep going.
In adapting your style to playing in Europe, what have you learnt from the games last year? Because there were one or two sore ones along the way, but what did you see in terms of progress to convince you can make this way work on this level?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends how you view. I mean, I know people sort of reflect on our European performances last year, as some sort of abject failure, but we won 3 group games, in a very hard group. Sure, we got spanked once here by Bayer Leverkusen because they were a great side, but we still gave a good account of ourselves. And the 2 we lost away were decent games. So I guess, people kind of go to the end point because we lost to Bodo Glimt, but, our priorities were pretty clear what we were going to try and achieve at that point of the season, and that was the league. So it's not that I was dismissive of it. So there was nothing that we did last year that surprised me. We weren't ready for it, absolutely. The teams we were up against were very strong teams, but again, we went out there and measured ourselves. And that first night we lost 4-0 was a good test for us. We saw we came up short, and the next time we were out there, we got a little bit closer, and then we got a little bit closer again. And like I said, we ended up winning 3 games. If we win 3 group games in the Champions League, I don't think people will be saying it's been a poor performance. Yeah, so I think we learned a lot out of last year, and I think it helped us in the league because I think the players got real belief that even against the very best, while we didn't win all the games we did, we challenged every strong team we played against, and that gives players confidence that if we get it right, then we can trouble anyone.
Just finally, on a similar vein, are you excited, intrigued at how your players then do on this stage? Are you looking forward to just seeing, look, what you've created, how it fares on this stage now?
I don't know if excited or intrigued. I just want the players to go out there and be the best version of themselves as they have been. I mean, they've got an opportunity, like I said, to play in an unbelievable tournament against quality opposition, and want to go out there and just enjoy yourself and be yourself, and that's what we've tried to do. We've set up, the way we play our football, they enjoy because it's successful. We're getting returns on it, but also they love the fact that they can go out there and express themselves, and that's what I said. I don't want that 90 minutes tomorrow to just whiz by and they haven't really had it, gone out there and been the best they can be. So my job is to get them ready for that, and then after that, it's up to them to take that opportunity.
Okay.
And where does this rank in the biggest games that you've managed in your career thus far? Is it the biggest?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, they're all big, and I know it's not me being dismissive of it, but as I said, I've built a career on winning things. I love winning things. I love winning games of football. I love winning trophies. I love being part of, groups that do that. And every sort of challenge I've had along the way, I've seen as an opportunity to do that. So, it's not like, I guess from my point, as a point of reference, it's not like I look back on my career and I see, all these games that I've been fortunate to be involved with as some sort of achievement. The achievement comes after. You want to, like I said, from my perspective, it's about making an impact. It's about being successful. It's about winning things, winning games of football, and that's where you get, the significance of it more. But I'm lucky in the respect that I represent a football club that's given me this platform to participate in the best club competition in the world. So from that perspective, I'm just like the players. I want to make the most of it.
And realistically, for this group, what is the target then to get out of this group?
The target is to be the best we can be, and let's see where that takes us. If we're the best we can be, I'm happy to accept what comes before us.
Chris,
there's an obvious feel-good factor around the place given the domestic results. That seems to be lending itself to a growing expectation going into tomorrow night. Is that an expectation that sits okay with you, or does that need to be tempered a little bit? Where do you think the expectation should be going into tomorrow night?
So you want me to burst people's bubbles there? You wanted me to bring it down into this whole experience. No, I'm glad our supporters are buzzing about it. I've got no problem with that. I think that's what we love about the game. Yeah, of course, my job is to stay even-tempered through it, right? So in terms of my expectations and what I'm sort of communicating to the players for us as a group is what we need to do to keep progressing, that's a different story. But, I want our supporters dreaming of big games and big wins and winning things. I mean, that's the role of us as a football club, I'm sure they get enough of their bubble burst in their normal lives on a daily basis. It doesn't need me to bring them down and tell them, look, don't come here too excited tomorrow because it might not go well. I don't think that's my role. My role is to make sure they come bouncing in and hopefully we send them bouncing out.
I think Ronnie touched on it a little bit earlier on, but in terms of being able to enjoy it, I know you're obviously focused, the players are so focused as well, but can you really enjoy this occasion, or is that one again for the fans?
No, I think you do enjoy it if you take in the whole experience, because there's no doubt there'll be moments tomorrow night where we've got an opportunity to do something, and the players I think will thrive in that space, and it depends what you mean by enjoyment. It's if you're expecting it to be an easy night where you're running around with a smile on your face, no, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to work your backside off and be challenged in every single way. But there's an enjoyment in that. That's why elite sportsmen do what they do. They love the struggle. They love the challenge of. That's where the enjoyment comes. And then you hopefully make a good memory with, at the end of it saying, well, we had a red hot go today and we got something out of it. So I think there still is enjoyment. I think if they don't enjoy it, then I think they're missing an opportunity. But it's not going to be easy. That's very plain and clear, and we all understand that.
Just finally from me, I think your opposite number tomorrow night identified Celtic as potentially their toughest opponents in this group. That must be quite nice to hear.
Well, hopefully he's saying it after the game, mate. That's more important, again, before the game. But, I got a great sort of admiration and respect for him because, he's been put in charge of some of the biggest football clubs in the world, and he's been successful wherever he's been. And, knowing that just how challenging this job is, the fact that he's been given that responsibility, it's some of the biggest clubs in the world and it's brought success. To me, that's, like I said, I've got a great admiration and respect for everything that Carlo's done.
Chris.
Hi, Ange. It's been a whirlwind 10 days for the club since the draw has been made. At what point did you afford yourself some time to think about the magnitude of the task of this first game and putting your wits against one of the best team in the world?
Yeah, it was almost kick off on Saturday, 12:30. Game finished 2:30, about 3 p.m. I reckon I started thinking about it, because as you said, since the draw, I was really conscious of the fact we had 3 games before that. We had Dundee United away, we had Ross County in the Cup, and obviously the derby on Saturday. And I thought the worst thing for us is to be looking ahead to this game and not go into it in good form, or sort of haven't taken our eye off the ball and maybe slipped up in a result or two, because then you're going into it with a whole different mindset. So, I made sure the players, it's not that, we kind of banished the word Champions League from the place, but, we really had to focus on what's the next challenge, what's the next game. And I think you see with our performances in the 3 games since the draw, and the results obviously have been great, but our performances have got stronger and stronger, because I think everyone's understood that the next step is the next important one. And obviously after Derby on Saturday, then we could turn our focus straight onto this game, and you sense it. I mean, the boys come out of the training, and the Champions League balls are there, so they know it's a different competition and a different feeling. And from then on, then that's when you really think about it.
And you've spoken often of the late nights where yourself and your father sat and watched these big European games from halfway across the world. You're now a little over 24 hours away from playing the biggest team in the world on potentially the biggest stage. I know the focus tomorrow night will be all about the players and what they do, but will you take a moment pre-match to reflect? And also, what would your dad think of all of this?
Yeah. I mean, I do. I try to. Whether it's just 30 seconds of just making sure that I appreciate where I am, and you think about the people that got you to that space. And like I said, obviously my father isn't around anymore, but he was a big sort of pillar in my life in terms of putting me in this place where I am right now. But I've got family now, loved ones and friends who some of them will be in Australia, literally getting up in the middle of the night to watch it, and you kind of reflect on it, because it's been a hell of a journey. I've come from the other side of the world, and I'm sitting here right now. So you do reflect on that, and you kind of hope that they take pride in it. I'm sure they do, and feel part of it. Because again, like any other person, I guess I'm the end product of a lot of influences and a hell of a lot of love and support, and you kind of want those people to share in whatever happens. You want to shield them from the bad stuff, but the good stuff you want to share it with them.
And in recent weeks, the team have been so clinical in the final third. How encouraging is that ahead of a game like tomorrow, where chances might be fewer and further between? Yeah,
it's important. Look, it's fair to say that we're not going to get probably as many chances as we had recently, and we have to be clinical, and I think we've shown that side of the game again. I think a lot of the commentary around us is the way we play our football, but that doesn't mean we kind of just do things one way. I mean, we've dominated possession in every game this year, but we didn't dominate possession on Saturday. But it didn't make us any less dominant in terms of the performance and the goals we scored. So, within that context, that's the area we're working really hard on, that final third, because I think the higher levels you go up, as you say, the chances become fewer and more challenging, and it's the same at the other end. You've got to try and limit the opposition chances. So that's been a real focus for us this year, of what happens in both boxes and how we can become more efficient, because that's in the rarefied air of playing against the best. That's where games get decided, and I think tomorrow night that'll be really important, both from an attacking perspective and a defensive perspective.
I know you're a very humble guy, Ange, but just on a personal level, I think this will make you the first Australian manager in group stage, Champions League group stage history. How does that make you feel, that you keep setting these accomplishments and stuff? How does it give you a great sense of pride?
Yeah, it does. Like I said, I mean, because that's part of the story as well, I guess. Because I grew up in Australia, and you kind of, and I know, the most of Australians who love football will be up watching the game, and I'm hoping they feel part of it. They're part of the journey as well. So you do take pride in it, and but again, I'm really conscious that these kind of things become more sort of important. Hopefully, when I'm lying on a lounge chair on a Greek beach somewhere in 20 years' time. Right now, my biggest responsibility is to this football club. That's who I represent, beyond anyone else. I represent this football club, its supporters, and I just want to make sure that when we go out there tomorrow night and every time we go out there, we do them proud and we put on a performance that, like I said, gives them some joy and some great memories. That's where my greatest responsibility lies, and that's where my focus is.
And one man you'll know very well since arriving at Celtic is John Clark, who's described the atmosphere out there as having an aura about it and a magic. How big a part did the Celtic support have to play tomorrow night? We saw the collective Saturday with the ball boys and whatnot. How big a part do we have to play?
Yeah, massively. You know, yeah, as you said, you know, we got John down in training ground every day, and he's you know, he tells us about, you know, the special feeling, and you know, obviously Callum and James are probably two players who have felt that here, but they're the only two. So for the rest, it'll be a little bit of a new experience. But yeah, anyone you talk to, and you just have to listen to how opposition teams and players and managers talk about their experiences after playing a Champions League game here. So, you know, we've got Champions League support. We just got to become a Champions League team. That's our responsibility as players, and hopefully we can begin that process tomorrow night.
Okay. Anyone else? No. Okay.
It's one more. No,
You done?
That's it.